Is there a little bit of Godzilla in all of us? We'll be asking that tonight on the OSMcast. Hi, folks, and welcome back to the OSMcast, your podcast for everything awesome. I'm Basil.
And I'm Doug.
I'm Kevin.
And that's us. And boy, howdy, do we have a mammoth of a podcast of all sorts of things that we'll be talking about, which will conclude with lots of talk about Godzilla. I mean, obviously.
Would you say we have a monster of a podcast?
We might.
I would have said kaiju of a podcast. I mean, if we were into proper vernacular, yes.
Yeah. It'd be a Category 5 kaiju of an awesome cast.
Probably more of a Category 4. I mean, Pacific Rim was definitely a Category 5 of an awesome cast. This is, well, we got a lot to talk about. First off, we are the OSMcast, your podcast for awesome things like TV shows, movies, mostly anime, but this time we'll be talking about an American movie, even though it's
American movie based on a Japanese movie monster character.
But lots of things, and we talk about it, and theoretically you listen to it. Awesome, thank you very much for doing that.
Or your bots are listening to it, in which case, thank you, bots.
You give us inflated senses of scale. We don't mind that. You can, of course, find us at awesomcast.com, OSMcast, and leave us comments in the comment section. Let us know that you are real humans. Or send us emails, awesomecast@gmail.com. Of course, all complaints, podcast at chainsawbuffet.com. They can take all the complaints. They are the official OSMcast complaints department. Of course, they're at MomoCon right now, so they may not get to them until later, but they'll get to them. I promise you, they'll read them. And they'll probably read them on their podcast. And of course, we're on Twitter at AwesomeCast, Tumblr.awesomecast, Facebook.awesomecast. You can find myself, Basil, at it's Basil Time on Twitter, and Kevin is Twitless_Kevin. There's also still the Awesome line, whatever number it is. It's on the website. If anyone ever wants to call, we'll throw the call on the air. Sure, if we ever get one. I think we still have one. But anyways, speaking of things we're on, by the time the next episode airs, it will be after HamaCon.
Wow.
Yeah, HamaCon for us is like in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming very, very fast, and I still have so much photoshopping to do. Oh god, I gotta hit the mines. Hit the mines fast, hit the mines hard, and I've also got to make some panels.
Yeah, I gotta do one of those too, which is actually pretty related to our subject tonight, but that's...
It is, and we'll get to it. I'm actually just going to look at the schedule, and I might be doing more. It's quite possible.
You never know. We might, the day of the con, find out you're doing more.
It has happened before. For example, I'm hosting opening, and the reason why we don't actually ever review HamaCon is that I'm one of the directors.
We are too close.
You know, Kevin and Doug are, they go to the staff meetings, or technically, listed as staff, and frankly, HamaCon is the closest thing there is to OSMcast the con as you can get that we can pull off.
Well, we're heavily involved. We staff, we do panels. You are one of the directors. It's good fun. We recommend it heavily, but it's a little... we're not really unbiased about it. We think it's great and amazing, and that probably
you should come to it.
That doesn't make for a good podcast.
Like, for example, on Friday, and this is the stuff that we're doing, okay, on Friday, at 2 p.m., Kevin is starting off with a totally tokusatsu panel.
Yes. Which, I don't see how I can avoid talking about Godzilla. I could try, but it'd be pointless.
And then I host opening ceremonies.
Like, that's almost like immediately afterwards.
It is immediately afterwards. Immediately after that is my Getting Your Anime Groove back. panel. Immediately after that is getting your anime groove back is my panel where I think of certain animes that if you're out of anime, this might get you back into anime. Or if you're in anime looking for something different, this might actually also do that as well. And this year is going to be very space-oriented because it's a space-themed convention. So I'm going to start off with, spoiler alert, Gundam Build Fighters. Because it starts off in space.
Starts.
Does it? But then I go, immediately after that, I hop into another panel room for what I call anime and manga in the digital age, which is how you can find anime and manga digitally, legally. Then I think I'm safe for a little bit until I'm doing my Boys to Men Shonen and Seinen panel, while at that same time, in two different areas of the con, Doug is doing a sake tasting panel.
Yep. We're going to be tasting sake. It's going to be fantastic. I just finalized the sake list today, and there's going to be a bunch of really good sake there. The sake list, as I was going through it this time, what was available to me, I noticed, last year, I was surprised that there were a couple of really phenomenal sake on there. And this year, there's not any phenomenal ones on there, but they're all really good. They're all, above average. So it's still going to be a bunch of really good sake, and I picked out the best of each type.
And shortly after that, at 10 p.m., I'm doing the Pain Train,
Yep.
which is my anime hell-inspired thing. And so that's what? One, looking at our opening ceremony still, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 panels?
Yep.
Just on Friday that we're doing.
Yep.
On Saturday, I'm just going right through here. I'm not doing anything yet. I might be somewhat involved with extra innings because that's a Drew panel
Okay.
from Seishun, and I'll probably end up hopping on
I
that.
just have the one real panel, so I assume I'll be following Basil around and
Yeah, I
the rest
assumed
of the
I was
time.
going to be your minion and
Oh,
be
yeah.
running about and getting what you needed along.
I want to be Basil's minion. We can
He's
both.
probably going to need both.
Yeah, and there's going to be times when we are both needed elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see, I'm not in that. I'm not in that. Oh, wow. I've got time to actually, maybe rest and maybe eat something food. There we go. My, the State of the Anime and Manga Roundtable. That's totally a thing that I'll be doing. And I think that's it for Saturday. Wow. Saturday, I am not really doing anything.
Well, you're going to be keeping the con awesome.
Oh, well, that's true. Well, no, I'm sorry. Also, I am doing, at noon, Lady Times, Shoujo and Josei.
Oh.
There is that one.
I have the companion panel to your Boys to Men panel.
And then we are doing an anime Q&A on Sunday.
All three of us?
Probably.
That's just
Okay.
a general...
Yes, it's a ask us questions, we give them answers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Like-
yeah, you probably want me on that. I know more stupid, obscure facts than most people should.
And then I'm finishing up before the anime, the show is, the con's over, the last panel of the thing is my manga. Holy crap, my manga panel is the last panel of the con. And I mean,
The last.
panel of the con. Everything else is closed, except for my manga panel
Wow.
before closing ceremonies. Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize that, and I've been looking at the schedule the whole time.
Well.
Wow. But there's also other good panels that you could go to.
Yeah, I remember Adam saying a bunch about all the great panel submissions he got.
Paul Chapman is going to be there, and he's doing his Tears of the Robots on Friday, which sounds really cool. Of
I
course,
saw
we got
that.
Ian Sinclair and Micah Solisad. Ian Sinclair was the voice of Space Dandy.
Yes.
Micah was the, what's his name?
D?
Soul Eater?
Well, no, B. From
D and
Space
Space
Dandy.
Dandy. He is also Soul Leader.
He has a Soul Eater. A guy, I forget, I'm blanking on his name, but he actually does occasionally listen to the podcast. He's doing a Kill a Kill panel.
Oh, the trigger warning one?
Yeah.
I like that title.
There is good stuff. There's a 10 years, 10 animes in the 1990s
Oh, that sounds
panel.
interesting.
There's also the Wild Worlds of Masaki Yusa. Like there's so much good stuff at this con. Like I am really there's this panel is bad, you should skip it panel.
What?
It's Adam's panel. Like it's he's going to stay. He's going to be there for no express reason. He's just going to be there. Like it says,
Perhaps if you pressure him, he might tell you some things he hates.
Like there is some excellent things. I know Paul Chapman's also doing like a fantasy and anime thing. That he's doing a cyberpunk panel. There is good stuff. We've got a Toriko panel. Yes, Toriko. Like there's a lot of good stuff. There is,
So that's your Hamicon podcast.
Well, also John from Chainsaw, he's doing awesome anime that time forgot, which is like stuff,
cool.
Which is stuff that is like things he points out. Like Ava's currently no longer an active publication circulation.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He's also doing the top video game anime and worst of the video game anime, really, because there's Street Fighter the movie, and then it goes downhill from there.
That's mostly true.
Yeah, so there is good stuff. Like I'm getting really, really hyped for this Hamicon, and not just because I'm its director of awesome, but it helps. So that's Hamicon. You should go if you're in town in Huntsville, Alabama. A lot of people are probably going to be at Anime Next, AWO, Reverse Thieves, Ninja Consultants. In their defense, like half of them live in New York, so that's the reason why they go to a New Jersey convention.
Oh, that makes sense.
But,
come
doesn't mean I can't call them out.
Come to Hamicon in Huntsville, Alabama. We're so much better than the rest of Alabama. It's amazing.
That's... well...
It's true.
I wanted to try to dispute it, but as I was born here and grew up here, I can't. I've got some home pride.
I mean, there are other nice places in Alabama, but Huntsville is so much better.
Yeah.
Unless you have very specific needs.
So there you go. But now, there's something else that I think we alluded to this in the Flamenco podcast. That there is a game that has partially taken over our lives.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just enough that I accidentally made Kevin really mad at me one day.
Yeah, this enough that
I felt really bad about it.
Just enough that I kind of sort of rage quit and still came back afterwards.
Yeah.
And that is Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn.
Not to be confused with Final Fantasy XIV, this MMO sucks. Which was what it was before they reborned it.
But now it's reborn. And it's really good. So here's your Final Fantasy XIV minute. This is going to be a minute like Zoro knows how to go from right to left.
That makes me happy inside.
When the bomb timer tells you have a minute left, yet somehow you get in 15 minutes of dialogue. It's that kind of minute.
Like, what's funny is just due to we recorded Summerlin Flamingo, we actually recorded that one pretty far back ago as far as OSMcast time now is concerned.
Yes.
I hadn't really started playing Final Fantasy XIV yet.
But we'd only all played for like a week.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 at that point. At this point, Doug and I are both now level 50 characters. We've now done a whole lot of the game.
I have not yet done any of the 8-man dungeons, but I've done a bunch of the 4-mans.
And the most important thing is to point out is that A, we're on the Leviathan server, and if you decide to play, B, let us know.
Yeah, we've got a free company and everything set up. Even if you don't want to join our free company, we have a...
Link shell.
Yeah, we have a link shell set up so you can still chat with us, and you can use us as a resource to quest with you.
But, you should join our free company, because we're going to buy a house.
Yeah,
it'll be cool.
Pretty frickin' sweet. It's going to be a house.
Other people need to donate money to it, because if I have to buy it, I'll buy my lonesome. I'm going to buy whatever house I want.
And folks, that message is sent to me.
As
Message
I say,
received.
looking straight at the quote-unquote guild master.
Yeah.
I am the All-Father. Thank you very much.
I tossed
And
in what I had.
Technically, they're not actually called guilds in this game. They're called free companies. But it is so hard not to call them guilds.
Because everyone else calls them guilds.
Well, I mean, that's what everyone calls everything else in
Yeah.
MMOs, guilds.
Yeah.
You know, it's either guilds or clans, but majority is guilds. But this is free companies because it makes sense within the lore of the...
Yeah. But
Of
it's
the
still,
thing.
it's a bunch of like-minded weirdos who've banded together to do stuff.
Like, I'm trying to gather all my Final Fantasy XIV thoughts to give like a decent review of it. Okay. Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn. It plays very similar to World of Warcraft. But it has the distinct advantage of having come after World of Warcraft, if that makes any sense.
It's true.
It really is like they sat down and they really hammered out what Blizzard did that really, really worked, and what Blizzard did that really, really didn't work. And they've kind of set up their own, and they kind of went from there. They make their own mistakes along the way, but for the most part, a lot of it is really good and it's really streamlined. For example, one thing, there's no reason to have alt characters unless you just want to have a character on a different server, because with every character, you can change your job class on that character. So if you like, I initially rolled a thaumaturge. I did not mean to play a DPS class. I meant to play a healer class. So I just couldn't tell from the descriptions which one was the healer class. So I just took a shot in the dark and went with thaumaturge, and I was not happy with it. I didn't really like it. I wanted to be a healer, but I didn't have to completely roll a new character. All I had to do was just go and talk to the guild of conjurers and say, hey, I want to be a conjurer now. And
do a little quest, and you'll be a conjurer. It'll be fun.
yeah, and now if I want to switch back over to being a black mage, I haven't lost any of my progress. I can still just equip all my black mage stuff, and now I'm a black mage.
Yeah, pretty much as soon as...
Technically, you're just a thaumaturge, as you have to get to level 30.
Shut up, Basil.
And you're... Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much the first thing I did when I got access to the rest of the world was learn every class.
Yeah.
I accidentally all the classes.
You and Barry did the same thing. In World of Warcraft, Barry had 8 different alts all on the same server just because he really likes the crafting skills and the crafting classes, and he really likes going out and finding like ore and stuff and making a ring out of it. And in order to do all of that in World of Warcraft, from the ground up and not have to go to the auction house for anything, you had to have 8 different characters. In this, you could theoretically do it all yourself. There is still an auction house, so you don't have to do it all yourself.
Yeah,
So if
a
you
lot of
just-
that 70,000 gil I tossed into the house fund was me making money off stuff I made.
Yeah, so, like, I have just focused on botany. Like, botany is the going out and gathering herbs and stuff. I focused on botany and fishing, and I'm having a great time with that.
I mean, you get to where you can make any of, like, the third, tier, I don't know, like how they're kind of divided up in levels. Any of that, it seems like almost any of that third rank of craftable items sells pretty well.
Yeah, they did do a really good job balancing. They actually did do a really good job balancing all the item craft supplies so that everybody kind of needs some stuff from every other class.
Yeah.
So if you are focusing on one trade craft skill, there's a way to make money. There's a way to make money no matter what you're doing. Like even if you don't decide not to pick up the crafting at all and you're just going out hunting stuff down, you can still put the rare items you find up.
Yeah, I mean
and
the
get money to
game-
buy stuff that the people who are wanting to dedicate the time to learn how to craft it.
The
are
game's
crafting.
quest seems to throw new equipment at you about every 5 levels or so, but you might not. You might have to shop around a little to fill out your whole gear set.
Well, it becomes more difficult. Like
you
I've
go later.
gotten my white mage up to 50, so now I want to start working on another little class to complement it. And I suddenly realized that I ended up converting all of my gear into materia pretty much as soon as I was done with it.
Yeah.
So now I have no gear from level 1 to level 50. So I need to... And I did all the quests when I was a white mage, so now I've...
Yeah, now you have to go shopping for...
Well, but the thing is, if you're a weaver, and it's for more magic stuff...
Yeah.
You can just weave up some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and weaving is one of the easier...
Yeah, it's one of the easier trades to take up.
Because it just takes time.
Yeah.
There has been times that I have...
Well, even there are so many people who have taken up weaving that even needing to get stuff from the auction house isn't that expensive. And the bright side is that there's always a staple of people needing gear because of this. That if you need to make a little bit of extra money, like to pay for your iron ingots or whatever crafting supply you need to put into it, you can put it on the auction house and make your money back. It's very, like I said, to begin with, it's very well balanced. It's almost surprising how well balanced it is.
Considering they made this in like 2 years, and of course we've also came in after they've done a few pretty substantial patches.
Yeah, that's true.
For example, the whole jobs thing was in a patch.
Yeah.
So they have definitely,
Yeah.
But I think that's a good stopping point for now, because we'll be back next time.
Oh yeah.
With even more for your Final Fantasy XIV Minute. So, that was Final Fantasy XIV, and like I said, there's plenty more to talk about it. I mean, theoretically, we probably have enough to talk about to actually do a full-fledged OSMcast.
We could
just
potentially
on 14.
become a Final Fantasy XIV podcast if we really wanted to.
But we don't.
I don't think
There's other things in our life.
I don't think my interest will hold long enough.
Okay. And we want to keep Kevin around.
But I
reason.
do think there is enough, definitely, for a recurring segment.
Yeah. Oh, it's fine.
Because we haven't even gone into dungeons. So, in other things, and like cross-class skills, and or even stuff that we've done, like once we beat the game, quote unquote, and there's more after stuff. But
or murdering squirrels, because you got to do that.
That's all. It's almost require murdering squirrels.
They should.
They die, and for good cause. Other good causes. Moments of awesome.
It's a moment of awesome.
All right, good actor hitting his mark. What's your moment of awesome?
I don't know. There's stuff out there that's awesome. It's pretty cool. Wait, no. Yeah, okay. Yeah, actually, yes. Transistor. That just came out Tuesday, right?
Yes.
Well,
with Supergiant Games?
Yeah, Supergiant Games. People did Bastion. It's an action RPG.
Sort of?
Sort of, with a little bit of puzzle element.
Well, it's okay. It's by Supergiant Games, the guys who made Bastion. Yes. And graphically, it's very similar. It's got that drawn but yet sprite look to it. Like it's very much. It looks like if you took like a what if you did an actual 16-bit game, but it was actually using modern levels of fidelity for graphics. So things move like sprites, but they look like hand-drawn art. And it is an isometric thing, much like, Final Fantasy or like Secret of Mana. Or also like the new Shadowrun game, Shadowrun Returns.
Yeah.
And it's got this sort of modern cyberpunk, but like Art Deco aesthetic.
Yeah, it's kind of got cyber fantastic, maybe I might even call it. Because the enemies and weaponry are kind of robotic, but it seems almost magical.
Is it a look at yesterday's future?
Today.
Not necessarily.
But yeah, kind of.
Look at yesterday's future today. But you pull a magic technological sword out of your dead friend and try to figure out what the hell is actually going on. And boy, the game is obtuse.
Much like Bastion.
Yes.
It sort of literally just starts, and it'll tell you what's going on eventually. You'll get there.
It helps if you read the little text logs you find and listen to your talking sword tell you things.
But the action is real time in that you can, and it comes up, whack your sword, and then it comes up, whack your sword, or you can pause the game and set up your actions in advance.
You can have freeze time and set up your movement and action so that you might do multiple things in sequence. And then you let it go and you just do it. But then there's a recharge time before you can use any of your abilities again. And both ways have their ups and downs. Kind of depends on what you're fighting and what abilities you have equipped. And you have like 4 slots that correspond to your buttons, your main buttons, to map an ability to. And also as you go on, you unlock slots to map passive abilities or augmenting abilities. And so each ability you learn does something on its own, does something different when paired as an augment with another ability, and does something yet different again when set as a passive ability. And that makes the interesting part of the game for me, is mixing and matching into seeing what I can get it to do. Because some combinations are way better than others.
I bet.
But every power is useful in its own way.
I remember that was one of the cool things about Dragon Quest III, mixing all the dragon genomes to see what kind of dragon you ended up with.
Breath of Fire? Maybe?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Well, they both got dragons. You're killing dragons.
They both got dragons. There's some kind of questing involved.
There's some sort of dragon questing thing going on.
You may or may not fight God at the end.
Spoiler. Spoiler. Dragon Quest III. You fight God at the end.
Breath of Fire. Well, actually, maybe you do it in Dragon Quest III. I don't remember. But Breath of Fire.
Yeah, you do at the end of Breath of Fire.
Of course, JRPG spoiler. At the end, you might fight God.
It's a distinct possibility.
You may or may not stand tall and shake the heavens. It's possible.
This is a general spoil for all JRPGs ever. You may possibly fight God at the end.
God may or may not be a douchebag.
I recall at least one Dragon Quest where God is a super secret bonus boss, but he's a cool guy. He just thinks it'd be fun to fight you a little.
Yeah, that is one Dragon Quest, isn't it?
All right, Doug, you ready for the moment of awesome? Or
Well, yes and no. The problem I have with my moment of awesome is actually that I have had too many moments of awesome since we last recorded to possibly keep track. Barry and I went to Las Vegas. That was cool. Las Vegas is pretty cool. So I guess I can talk about Las Vegas as my moment of awesome for a little bit.
all right.
So, when I first got to Las Vegas, I was very surprised by the state of Las Vegas. It was not what I was expecting based off all the movies and TV I had seen. But that, as it turned out, was because I was on the Vegas Strip, which is one of the big roads in Vegas. Later on, Barry took me to the traditional Vegas, like the more traditional Vegas, where the big light-up cowboy is.
Right.
That was more what I was expecting out of Vegas, and that's where I actually won money. I won $2 on a penny slot machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my first dollar went to tipping an Elvis impersonator that was performing in the street. My second dollar that I won, my hard-earned winnings, they went to tipping a band of electric cello players. I didn't know there were electric cello bands, but they are apparently a thing that exists, and they were awesome. I was also really interested to find out that Las Vegas is actually pretty happening in the craft brewing scene. I shouldn't have been surprised that Las Vegas was into craft brewing.
No, probably not.
I really shouldn't have been surprised, but I ate at 3 separate breweries while I was there, and they were all really good, but the one I really want to mention, Banger Brewing in downtown Las Vegas. I even bought the keychain for them so I'd remember their names.
Ah.
But they were really, really good. They had a jalapeno Hefeweizen.
That sounds terrible.
No! It was amazing. It was. Because it wasn't really spicy, but it still had all the good flavor. Mm-hmm. So it was good. And that actually wasn't even my favorite. My favorite was their red. They had a red ale that was just amazing, but I really like reds. Mm-hmm. I'm sad I can't remember the name of the other brewing place that I had, because you would have really liked... You, Basil, would have really liked their... they had this coffee dark. Mm-hmm. It tasted both like dark, like black coffee, mm-hmm. and like and like a really strong stout, you would have loved it.
It sounds it.
Like, but I can't remember their names. Vegas. So Vegas was fun. The thing about the Strip is that the Strip, every single casino was sort of like a little resort in and of itself. So it was a little bit like walking through MGM in Disney World. In Disney, yeah.
Oh, you know, they're both magical lands that they wanted to take you for all your money.
Yeah, they do. And just like Disney World, in Vegas you can get anything you want. It just costs money. I mean...
Just like Disney World.
Just like Disney World. Like, whatever magical dream you have, it's there.
I'd like Princess Jasmine to come back to my room tonight.
Well, okay, so maybe Disney doesn't have that kind of dream.
I bet Vegas does.
I bet Vegas does, though. But, like... And, let's see, we saw the Tournament of Kings, and that was a lot of fun. We cheered for Norway really hard. He still didn't win, but we still cheered really hard for Norway. When I bought the tickets and I said, I want to sit in the Norway section, the guy looked a little surprised that I wanted to sit in Norway so bad, but he didn't ask, and he just booked me for there.
Norway!
But, you know...
Some of us like Norway, Basil.
Yes, some of us.
Godless heathens, but, you know, whatever.
But
all complaints.
So one casino is like ancient Egypt and a pyramid. One casino is like Camelot and King Arthur. One casino is like Paris. One casino has a bunch of flamingos in it. And it's really kind of amazing how everywhere in the Las Vegas Strip is really trying to be somewhere else in the world.
Well, would you want to be the hotel that emphasizes you're in Las Vegas when you're...
Well, actually, I think
you're
anywhere,
in Nevada.
Of any of them, I think there was one that was like that. I think the Flamingo was a little bit like that, and it was actually pretty nice. I liked it. But
Disney is the Hall of Presidents. Vegas has the Palace of Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar's Palace. Caesar's Palace was also, like, not really the gambling floor, but the shopping mall was really... They had this staircase that was an escalator, but it was spiraled. It blew my mind. Spiral escalator. Like, as we were walking down, everything costs money in Vegas. And so we were talking about all the things that we kind of wanted to do, but we'd already been there for a week, and so we were kind of spent. And I saw the spiral escalator. I'm like, Barry, let's go do that. Let's ride the spiral escalator. It was a little sad and a little awesome.
Well, that works for me.
But let's see. Other moments of awesome. My little sister is having another baby, and we thought it was going to be a girl. It's actually going to be a boy.
Happens.
That's awesome. That she's having another child. Let's see. Man, it's just been so long. Bunches of awesome stuff happened.
Well, that's cool. There's more than one OSMcast in the future.
Yeah, I'll have to backdate some of this moments of awesome.
So, I can at least do an easy two. First is the thing I'm recording on now. I've got this new fancy-fangled tablet PC. It is the Microsoft Surface Pro 2. It is very nice. Even though they just announced the Surface Pro 3, that's fine. I don't care. Mako's good with me. Well, I named it Mako. Because it's got the blue type cover, so it's the same color as a uniform, and she's always there for me. Even if she might be a little wild and crazy and go on weird monologues, I'm not expecting it to.
Yeah, but she's always there for you.
Yes, and always in my corner. It's a good laptop, tablet thing, and I use it for both. Like, I have discovered, sadly, while the Vita now does have Crunchyroll, the app isn't the best in the world. Like, if it's like right by your router, it works really well, but just like a room or two away, even though I have a really nice router, it doesn't quite connect to actually let me watch the anime. It doesn't buffer right.
Yeah.
Now, Netflix works just fine.
So it's clearly a situation of just that app is not set up to handle the buffering.
But I can just, but when I'm watching right before I go to bed, I have a sleep machine, so I was waiting for that thing to dry after cleaning it. I usually watch an episode of a show.
Yeah.
Or like an anime or what have you. But now I just, I rip off the touchpad, type pad, cover for it, use it as a tablet. Speakers are nice and loud. Mm-hmm. But it also runs panels fine. I can now run red light in actual full 1080p, no slowdown whatsoever. The actual real test is, can I run red light in 1080p? Can I run 10-bit stuff in 1080p? And can I run the newer remake of Space Battleship Yamato in 1080p? 1080p. Can I do that? Yes. Which means that this tablet, PC thing will run anything I want it to do, as far as panels go. And it even plays Final Fantasy XIV. It runs it in 720p, and all the settings are dialed down, but it does it. It does it, and I can play, and I can even go through dungeons and be successful.
That's good. That's good.
So I was down with that. And then my second moment of awesome is another video game, Kirby Triple Deluxe.
Ooh.
On the Nintendo 3D Entertainment System.
Oh, Kirby, you hellspawn. You cute little pink hellspawn.
This one is great because some random bad guy has now captured King Dedede. And Kirby is like, no, fuck you. I'm going to go follow you and be a whirlwind devastation of such and destruction.
Only I may torment King Dedede.
And this one is really fun. Like, Kirby tends to be fun, but this one's really fun. Because it's all in those movesets. And like lately, Kirby games, at least as far as I can tell, has been like, if you get you suck an enemy, you get an ability.
Yeah.
Well, this one, it's more like you get a move set based around an ability.
Oh,
like
cool.
There's a couple of ones that are just like you do one thing, that's really its thing. But there is a lot like rock is still just a rock.
Yes, that's the point of.
But like for example, a lot of them. There is just a regular attack, an up attack, a jump and hit down attack, a moving forward attack. You double tap to dash, and then you can do another attack.
Yeah. Like,
there's actual move sets.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And and they're all different. Like, one's got a spear, one's you're a ninja, one's you're wielding leaves, one you're wielding a hammer, another one you're wielding a bell. One, you're a circus clown, you're doing circus tricks.
Well, I've always enjoyed Kirby games on handheld devices anyway. The few times I've played Kirby games on not handheld devices, I've not enjoyed those quite as much, but I've always enjoyed them on handheld devices. Like, there's something, like, really actually kind of relaxing about a Kirby game.
Well, and this one, it's obviously, this has been rumored in development for a while.
Yeah. And
it looks it in a good way.
Yeah.
Like, this is definitely Nintendo took their time, because the game looks super pretty. Mm-hmm. The 3D is actually really, really well done. It does the thing where you're constantly jumping between foreground and background. And so there's a lot of really neat levels where suddenly you might be, like, for example, I might be an equivalent of a conveyor belt, where you're constantly moving forward. And there's actually an enemy in the background, and they're firing, like, bricks or, like, fireballs at you. And those things are destroying stuff, you in the foreground, but it's in the background.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you hop on a warp star, it warps you further into the background. And so suddenly it turns around, now it's firing in the opposite direction, still towards you. And so you're constantly going back and forth. They do a lot of really good, like, multiple, depth levels of gameplay. It's a lot of fun. And it's one of the, it's a good Kirby game in that just getting from point A to point B, it's not super easy, but the real fun is exploring all the environments and finding all the little secrets.
Yeah.
And also because all the move sets are all super fun to play with.
Yeah.
And it's varied enough, there's actually a mode called Kirby Fighters, which is pretty much a Kirby-only fighting game. Where you just pick a moveset and you fight each other.
You fight each other as the various different Kirbys.
And they just threw that in there because it's so varied.
Oh, that sounds fun. That sounds like a lot of fun.
Coming soon, Dynasty Warrior Kirby.
Like, as much as I love Yoshi's Island, I've honestly been having way more fun with the new Kirby game than I have with the new Yoshi's Island game. But that said, we're pretty far into this episode. We have yet to get to our actual topic conversation. So how about we take a break and we'll come back
with a moment of fuck you.
Maybe two.
Oh, yeah. There is a couple of moments of fuck you. But that's alright. We'll do that. We're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to fuck shit up. And then we'll talk about a movie all about
fucking shit
up.
This is the OSMcast.
Fuck living, fuck dying, fuck laughing, fuck trying, fuck cursing, but mostly fuck you. Fuck love, hate, and friends, fuck following trends, fuck this song, can't wait till it ends. Fuck everything, but fuck you the most. Fuck everyone, but fuck you the most. With a big rusty pole or a splintering post, yeah, fuck you the most. Fuck you. Fuck old school, fuck new school, fuck not cool, fuck you cool, fuck him man, ironically lame. Fuck giving advice.
You wanted it, or maybe you didn't. We really don't know.
Well, we certainly didn't. This is our moment of fuck you.
Because, hey, fuck you.
So, Kevin, I believe you wanted to start?
Well, yes, because I think I've mentioned a couple times a game, Conception 2, where, you know, you hold hands and think of Jesus and make star children.
Yeah, it actually had made it into your moment of awesome.
Yeah, like, what I love about the game, I love the dungeon crawling. I love the party building. I like the actual, what for me would be the game, but for them is almost the afterthought. They think I should be into wooing the girls. And this was actually a little ways back, but it's been a while since we recorded. And just one day, I was playing the game, having a good old time, and then out of the dungeon, I'm going to talk to the girls. And I'm talking to the girls, and for once I'm not fast-forwarding through it, I'm actually reading it. And I'm like, lady, why do you like me? Why are you, like, mooning over me? I'm a horrible person! I'm stringing around you, 7 other girls. I'm telling you all you're special, but I just want to screw you in a family-friendly way. And just to make, you know, magic babies to fight monsters in the dungeon. But I'm still just stringing you all along so I can bang you. Like, I'm a douchebag. I'm playing this game, and I'm a douchebag. Like, I don't like any of these girls. I just need them for their uteruses for star babies. Like, I'm a horrible person. And after that, I just couldn't play the game anymore. After this realization, I just couldn't play this game anymore.
It just... Oh.
It was just like, fuck you, game. Fuck you, me playing the game. I'm a horrible person.
Fuck you, game. Fuck you.
And according to Atlas, Conception 1, which we'll never see in the U.S., was a horrible, much more horrible game. Like someone actually on the Atlas staff said, yeah, you're never seeing that. 1, it's a PSP game. 2, it was horrible.
My moment to fuck you goes to what I affectionately call bed-shaped torture ditches. I fucking hate bed-shaped torture ditches.
Go on.
Okay, so... several years ago, when me and Barry were living in sin, we had gotten engaged, but we were not yet married. Scandalous! We went out and we got a bed together that would fit both of us so that we could sleep in the same bed together. And we shopped around in all the mattress stores and we chose the bed that was the most comfortable bed. I know, you heard your name. I mentioned you. I'm talking about the bed-shaped torture ditch. Oh. Okay, so we shopped around for a bed. We laid on a bunch, trying to figure out which one we thought was most comfortable and everything, and we eventually decided on this pillow top mattress. And it was wonderful. It was just the right amount of firmness, but because of the pillow top, when you laid down in it, you know, we were so fascinated by the technology of individually wrapped coils. It was just so much better than, like, any bed we had ever been on. And we were so spoiled. Like, we would go to conventions with you guys, and we would be at the convention, we'd be laying in the hotel bed, and we'd be sitting there, and we'd go to ourselves, you know, our bed at home is just so much better, and we would be yearning for our bed back home. Let's see. But then, all of a sudden, gradually, very gradually, over the course of about 3 years, we just kind of stopped noticing that difference in hotel beds. We just kind of stopped noticing, but it wasn't until Barry went to Australia, his work sent him there, And then he came back that he first mentioned, I think our bed might be sagging. And I thought about it, and I really thought about it. And the last convention I was at, I actually slept on a roll-out sofa bed. And it was more comfortable than my bed back home. And this was my first clue that something was amiss with our bed at home. Already, me and Barry had fallen into different sleep schedules where Barry was sleeping at night and getting up and going to work in the day. I was having to stay up all night because I could not go to sleep in the bed. And so I'd have to sleep briefly in the morning before getting up to do work, And we were both increasingly having more and more difficulty sleeping. And so it was like this complete revelation when our gaze was finally turned on the bed and we looked at it. And for the first time, we suddenly realized that it was this terrible trench downwards, and we tried laying on the side, and we only noticed then that we were both rolling inwards. Hence why we can't sleep in it together, because there was really only one spot to sleep on, and it wasn't even really in the center of the bed. You actually had to lay kind of catty corner, because if you just laid in the center, you felt like you were being smothered in the taco of pillows, and it was awful. And so Barry got online, and he started researching beds, and he discovered 1. There has been a significant decrease in quality of of the steel used in spring mattresses since in the past time.
Right.
Recently there's been a decrease in quality in the steel and the springs and mattresses. So the actual steel in the springs and mattresses isn't very good. Furthermore, pillow top mattresses have the highest rating of immediate satisfaction, but then the lowest overall satisfaction. Me and Barry were both pretty fed up because we'd only had this bed for 3 years.
Right.
This bed was only 3 years. One of the things we tried to do to adjust our bed-shaped torture ditch was we folded up a comforter, and we put it under the mattress in the area where the ditch was. This created a ditch with a lump in the center, making the torture and wickedness of this even more malicious. This maligned piece of fabric and foam feathers.
And sadly, once you knew you had it, you knew to order a new mattress, but it took a while.
It took about a week once we ordered our mattress for it to get in. We weren't actually even 100% sure that it really was the mattress. We thought, maybe this is all in our mind. Maybe we're just, because we've only had it for 3 years. Surely it can't be that terrible. And then we went to Las Vegas, and those beds were not particularly nice. And we realized, but they were still so much better than our bed. We were able to go to bed at the same time, sleep in the bed together. Just fine, no problems. So we realized it was just the bed-shaped torture ditch. And then once we got back from Vegas, then it was so painfully obvious that it's like there was something bothering me, and I never knew what it was until I realized what it was, and then I couldn't get it out of my head. But we have a new bed. We have a new bed now. Things are getting better. It's a memory foam, so we're having to learn how to sleep on a memory foam, because that's actually different. You wouldn't think that you need to acquire a skill to sleep, but there's apparently a small amount of skill involved in sleeping on a foam mattress, as opposed to the spring mattress where I'm used to flopping all over which way. You don't move as much on a memory foam. And that takes some getting used to.
Oh yeah, that would take some getting used to.
Yeah, but so we're getting better sleep. It's getting better, but I still wanted to take a moment to say, fuck you, pillow top mattresses! You suck!
Yeah.
And, fuck you in particular to, I'm gonna say, just categorize it as all mattress stores. I think we bought ours from Mattress Firm. We spent $2,000 on our mattress 3 years ago. We spent $300 on the current mattress. Even if the current mattress doesn't work out, we can still burn these motherfuckers, much like we are prepared to burn the torture ditch. In fact, if anybody is listening to this podcast, if you have a place where I can set a bonfire so that I can actively burn this bed-shaped torture ditch and celebrate in its destruction, please let us know. Because I really want to do that. I really hate this thing that much.
Well, I don't hate what I'm about to talk about nearly as intensely.
I have a burning rage. I just want to ignite the... Ugh!
But while we're recording, there is a con called MomoCon existing at this very moment. I just got from, OSMcast Chainsaw correspondent Charlie Chainsaw on the field, and he's complaining to me. Are you telling me that I have to endure a con with the Nega-Basil with no Posi-Basil to cancel him out?
Yes, that's what we're telling you.
Sadly. Too many cons in too short of time.
Like, there does exist a Nega-Basil.
Yeah?
I've never really talked to the guy, but he looks disturbingly like me.
Yep.
From a distance, very easy to confuse.
And I'm told other people that he knows sweet kung fu or karate moves, or martial arts moves. I can't remember what it was, but they were sweet, I am told. Well, I was at some comic book store, and the guy goes, "Hey, you're the guy I met at the con." And I'm like, alright. Talking to him, I was like, "Oh, you're not that guy." I was like, "What?" Oh, it's this other guy who looks a lot like you.
Always the guy you don't understand.
And now he's going to teach you some sweet kung fu moves or sweet karate moves. And I'm like, I don't have any sweet karate moves. I've moved beyond the need for such things. I have other people to have sweet karate moves for me.
Get enough drinks in me.
And for further recollections, I was like, I'm the guy. The other guy's impersonating me.
Yes.
So, screw you, doppelganger.
Yeah, doppelganger. How dare you happen to have genetics that resulted in you looking very similar to Basil?
Not that he looks so much like Basil. It's just he looks like so much like Basil, and he might be pure evil. We're not as sure about that part, but...
Well, it's really hard to tell because they both have goatees and mustaches.
I know. That's what threw me.
Like, so how do you tell which one's the good and which one's the evil one if they both have the indicator?
But I have really nice sideburns, and he doesn't.
And if we're at Hamacon especially, Basil will be dressed nicer.
No, that's true.
That is true.
That doesn't necessarily mean you're not the evil one.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm not the
I'm
evil
pretty sure
one.
Basil's not the evil one.
Fair enough.
Like,
Fair enough.
But yeah, Nega-Basil.
Although Charlie does say, I don't know, man. I may have to feud with OSMcast for leaving me hanging like this. Look, I can't help it that MomoCon, who are filled and staffed by wonderful people, moved their con 2 weeks before my con. Like, Hamacon, not my con, as in the con that's in Mississippi.
Which is also a good con, I hear.
Yeah, that's pretty fun. And I've got lots of work to do. I don't have time to go to cons that close together with me being one of the main people in front of this con. I just can't do it.
And of course.
I apologize.
Then like 2 weeks later is Seishun.
Well, yes, but all the work I'm doing for Hamacon can immediately just moved over to Seishun.
Which is convenient.
Which is convenient.
But I would not want to do Momo Hama Seishun back to back.
But Charlie then responds, plenty of blame to go around. I'm constructing a perpetual blame engine specifically to deal with the situation. You will rue the day. The game is afoot, Charlie. The game is afoot. It's on. And I'll see you at Hamacon.
Right. So.
That's your moments of FU.
We love you, Charlie.
Or do we?
We
yes.
do.
Yeah, we do. We do.
We do. Not
really
like
do.
Norway that Basil hates, but he likes you, Charlie.
Yeah, you're way better than that asshole Norway.
No! Norway's so cool. And Charlie knows that Norway's cool.
Ooh, Charlie, you're losing points here.
It's true. I talked to Charlie about it. He says he likes Norway.
That's...
I don't know how you could not like Norway, but I like bringing it up.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if you're a human demon, I bet Doppelganger probably is at least ambivalent towards Norway.
Yeah, that's my point exactly. I think Doppelbasil is at least ambivalent towards Norway.
How many frickin' gold medals did they win? How many?
All of them?
Yeah. There's something weird, but something wrong about that. Something un-American about that.
There is something un-American about that. It's Norwegian.
Yeah, that's a problem. They need to fix that.
Ah! Bah.
You know who needs to go fix that? Who needs to go take out Norway? Like he takes out all horrible monsters?
Godzilla.
We'll be right back. It was the year 1998.
No!
Wrong Godzilla, Basil. Wrong Godzilla.
Okay, well, there was a Godzilla movie that no one liked.
But had an animated spin-off that was amazing.
You know what pissed me off most about the 1998 Godzilla? There was a soundtrack that came out for that movie. And it came out before the movie was actually out, and I bought that soundtrack, and I loved a lot of the tracks that were on that soundtrack, and I was really excited. I was really getting hyped up because of that soundtrack. I was really looking forward to going and seeing the movie and seeing all of these, scenes. I was picturing them all in my head, choreographing all these different, monster fight scenes and, explosions and things to this soundtrack, this really awesome, rocking soundtrack. And then I got to see the movie, and all of these songs that were on the soundtrack that I love so much, they weren't just not in like I imagined, but they were barely in at all. Like, the main characters would pass by, a radio that was playing a few bars of the song before the characters moved out of range of the radio. It was... Yep. A bunch of them weren't really in there. They were in there enough to say, and it was totally in the movie, but it wasn't. It wasn't really in the movie. And that made me angry. Other than that, I blocked it out, because it was so bad.
I don't... Do I have to be the guy to defend it? I don't think it was that horrible. I didn't love it. I certainly did not love it. I don't really
I remember there being something about eggs in it, and that was kind of stupid.
Godzilla laid eggs.
Yeah. And
they were little kind of raptor-sized Godzillas that they had to reenact Jurassic Park with. That was kind of stupid. I like some of the movie, though. It's not my least...
Like the part where he just breathes noxious gas that will ignite if something catches fire near it.
Yeah.
And that was his atomic breath. That's what you liked so much about it? That's what you thought was the best movie of all time, Kevin? No, you hate it too. You shut up.
Yeah.
You hated it too. Fast forward to 2010.
Okay.
This movie called Monsters came out. And it was by this guy named Gareth Edwards. And I guess it was a film that
was pretty good.
Was it? I have never seen it.
It's very atmospheric. The titular monsters, I think it's still on Netflix, are not really in it much. It was a really low-budget monster movie where you got a lot... You got more the impression the monsters had come by, or you were seeing aftermath, as opposed to actually seeing much of the monsters. Not that that has any relation to this movie, but it was not bad. It was a good atmospheric film. It's not like a monster smash fest or anything.
Well, since the 1998 Godzilla... You, Kevin, have shown me a few Godzilla movies.
A few.
You've shown me a few Godzilla movies. The one I think I remember the most actually did come out in theaters, and I think you insisted on taking me and Basil to see it.
Godzilla 2000.
I was still, I think... Yeah, that was Godzilla 2000, because I was still in high school, I remember.
A.k.a. Godzilla versus the Big Giant Rock, which was more of a Godzilla movie than the 98 one.
Well, that one was actually made in Japan, wasn't it?
Yes.
Well,
and the thing is, the 98 Godzilla... Toho kept the monster, and they just called it Zilla, because America took the god out of Godzilla. But he's in the Toho monster stable, and he did show up in the movie Godzilla Final Wars. To have a big showdown with Godzilla that they big up, they got the music going, it seems like it's going to be the most epic thing ever, and Godzilla flattens him in less than 30 seconds. To which the evil alien who's sending the monsters forth has a tantrum that's really just for a few seconds. And then he's like, yeah, I didn't think that was going to work. And next monster.
But I mentioned Gareth Edwards because apparently someone was impressed so much with monsters, they gave him the keys to Godzilla. And he was the major, director who was, behind this new film that we're talking about today in the year of our Lord, 2014.
2014 of the Common Era. I don't know why I feel the need I don't want to start a century war.
So, tell us about this Godzilla, Kevin. You are the Godzilla master here.
Me? Well, like the film or the
Don't make me write Godzilla on your head.
Because we shouldn't have to.
We shouldn't have to.
I shouldn't have to write Godzilla Master on your head, but I will do it.
I mean, the best thing I can say about it is it's a Godzilla movie. It is totally... It's, other than that, it's mostly in English and has a Hollywood budget. It's totally a Godzilla movie in the sense of the Japanese Godzilla movies.
Which I do think that is a pretty big statement, considering the epic failure that was the 1998 Godzilla movie. The fact that this 2014 Godzilla movie is actually a Godzilla movie says a lot for it.
The 98 Godzilla movie had Jean Reno, who is the one French actor I like. That's what wasn't bad about it. Matthew Broderick had a couple funny lines. It was
But enough about that now. We're talking about the current Godzilla.
Yeah,
but
the current
it was,
Godzilla.
And I see some of the monsters' influence in this movie because honestly, it's going to take you a while to get to the monsters.
It does take a while.
It's a build-up. They're...
The movie is a slow burn.
It is.
Here's how I felt about the movie. I really loved the movie. I felt about the movie... You know how when I described Pacific Rim, and you're going to hear me compare this movie to Pacific Rim a lot.
It's in a lot of ways it's hard not to.
It's hard not to compare the two movies. They're two American-made giant things fighting movies, so
that owe a lot to some kind of Japanese counterpart.
So I'm going to end up comparing them. But Pacific Rim left me breathless in a way that made me feel a little bit like I needed a cigarette. Left me that kind of satisfied. This movie was more akin to that feeling you get when you go outside and you just scream your lungs out just really, really loud and long. When you're done, you feel a little breathless. Your throat feels a little raw. You're pretty revved up and excited from that. You're also feeling a little bit of a release from getting all of that out. So it's a good feeling, but it's not quite an oh yeah feeling. It's more like an oh yeah feeling. If that makes any sense to anybody but me, which I hope it does. The other thing that I will say about this movie is when I was watching it, I kind of felt it was a little bit like when I go for a run. It had a moment where it was clearly stretching at the beginning. It was doing little warm-up exercises. And then it went too fast. It went really hard, really fast, and then it ran out of steam and ran out of breath and had to stop and catch its breath for a little while. Then it started back at a more normal pace, and then it started to build up that pace. It was still tired from having run out too far at the beginning. But then eventually, it got its second win, and it finished really strong and really fast and really amazing. Oh my gosh, awesome! And that's how I run. I should mention I'm not actually a very good runner. I just like doing it.
But it does have like most Godzilla movies, it does have a human plot. There is.
I love the human plot.
There's a human plot. And somehow every Godzilla movie has a human plot.
Most of the movie actually revolves around the human plot.
And I've actually seen a Godzilla movie with a human plot that has less to do with Godzilla.
I think that's one of the ones you showed me.
But it does, there's one involving bank robbers. It doesn't really
there's
matter.
one where there's one of the old school Godzilla movies where literally the plot has nothing to do with Godzilla, and then Godzilla just kind of happens like it's something that's happening unto the story.
There's actually something like a B plot dealing with the humans that have something to do with Godzilla, but the A plot has nothing to do with Godzilla. This one at least is involved.
This plot is in fact very involved with Godzilla and what's going on with Godzilla.
I mean, it starts a little bit in the past. You've got, they find a skeleton, and there's which is, I think, implied to be a Godzilla skeleton. It's just not Godzilla.
I'm not sure that it is implied. It may have implied itself to be a Godzilla, but I think it...
Well, I say that
because
the assistant went, is it him? And Ken Watanabe as Dr. Serizawa was like, no, it's too old.
Yeah. Well, one of the things they do mention, and I think this is actually like a shout-out to Mothra and maybe some of the other giant monsters that Godzilla has fought in Godzilla movies past, that, there's not just Godzilla. Godzilla is just the one they've been dealing with the most for the longest, but there are other giant monsters that all fed on this radiation back in the day.
Which could have been a thing. Probably isn't, but it could have been a thing.
One of the things this movie starts with, and I was not as... I enjoyed the movie pretty well, but I was not nearly as hot on it as Doug or Kevin. But one of the things this movie starts off with, which I thought was really interesting, was that it starts off with a really strong conspiracy vibe.
Yeah.
You start off with the opening credits are a bunch of old-timey footage. And from what I understand, they actually got a lot of the kind of old-timey cameras so they could actually...
They shot some of that themselves, and they were using really old film cameras.
Yeah.
Of like old bomb tests and things, and shots of Godzilla swimming in the water and nuclear bombs going off.
Like
and
the Godzilla things were new. Some of the bomb footage was archived, but it was an interesting little mix.
And while they were doing it, they were throwing the cast, and they had really, really neat-sounding text, but they would redact it so fast you couldn't actually read it except for the actual parts that were important.
Yeah, I was really trying, and I couldn't do it. It did, as I was leaving the theater, it did leave me with the thought that I wanted to buy the DVD so I could pause it and look and see what that was. And no joke, today when Kevin came over, he said the same exact thing before I even had a chance to.
Although apparently people on the internet have it posted. I don't know if they
figured it out, or they got it the script or whatever.
I would like to pretend they watched the film that many times till they got it, but probably just somebody recorded it on their phone camera.
And you start off with thing, and originally there is the starting main character, as it works. There's a few people that the movie follows. And he is, it's really about this dad and his son.
It's Walter White.
That was
the dad from Malcolm in the Middle.
Godzilla versus myth. Drugs are bad.
Bryan Cranston, everyone. Who speaks Japanese okay.
Who starts... Well, they show off... Like, this movie does do a pretty good job of acknowledging the Japanese heritage of Godzilla.
They start in Japan. He's some kind of engineer in a nuclear power plant, or the safety supervisor. It's a little unclear. He has a PhD in nuclear physics. We know that.
Well, and he drives a Subaru. Mm-hmm. His son's name is Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff happens, and it's a little cataclysmic, which leaves the son and father traumatized. The father realizes something's gone wrong that no one's willing to admit to, and is trying to find the truth.
I think if your conspiracy theory movie would be like the interquel in that time jump, I think that would be where your conspiracy theory movie would be that you kind of wanted.
There's this problem that happens at the nuclear power plant that the dad works at, and afterwards, they just leave it as, and there was just an accident that went down. The dad is sitting there trying to say, no, it wasn't just an accident, something was going on. And even his own son, who by now has grown up and is getting ready to be the protagonist of our movie, even he is sitting there going, gosh, Dad, you're crazy, there is no government cover-up conspiracy theory. And maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. Maybe there's Godzilla.
Well, you find out that there is some things, and it really, it starts off, for me, it starts off really strong.
Yeah.
and that there could be a lot of intrigue going on along within this Godzilla film, and then it kind of drops. And I think part of the problem is that Ford's dad ends up having way more emotions and felt like way more of a completed character than Ford ever does.
Well, Bryan Cranston is a great actor.
Even if he was in the Total Recall remake, but we forgive him.
Like, he really is a good actor. He really is a very expressive and an actor that you could really identify with his emotions when he's portraying a character. That's part of why he was so compelling as Walter White. And even when he was doing Malcolm in the Middle, he was such a sympathetic, TV dad because...
Bryan Cranston is a damn solid actor.
Yeah, because of his range of emotion. So it's not really that surprising to me that... we immediately identify with him, maybe a little bit better than we identify with Ford.
Ford, who is our roided up Kick-Ass.
Yeah.
Well, it's the guy who played Kick-Ass.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Whose name I can't remember. Aaron Taylor Johnson. But he really buffed up for the role. He's supposed to be like a Navy lieutenant. He's an EOD. He's...
which stands for Explosive Ordnance Disposal.
Well, yeah. But some part of my brain legitimately was thinking, yeah, everyone knows that. But no, they don't.
I didn't know it. I know that they kept saying it. They kept referencing that in the movie. That's what he did. Is he disposes of.
I forget. Not everyone knows military acronyms.
Well, these things are important as one of the illusions. In this particular Godzilla film, is in the original '60s, a lot of it was nuclear testing. Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Godzilla was sort of a thing that was woken up by nuclear testing.
Oh yeah, admittedly in the original film they were a little vague, but yes, he was generally accepted to be something that was either awakened or created by atomic testing that we were doing in the ocean, and especially around Bikini Atoll
and the general thing with this one is honestly dealing with stuff like radioactive waste.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, the big thing was the fact that there was atomic power. The thing is now is dealing with atomic power.
Yeah. And
so that's sort of where this Godzilla film comes from, and I feel that part was particularly strong. I honestly am completely down with all the Godzilla-ness of this film.
Yeah.
It's just...
Godzilla has had a long history of kind of being a little bit of a commentary about atomic energy.
Yeah, Godzilla is atomic power in, not human form, but in giant lizard form. He is the nuclear bomb walking around.
And he has been a commentary, and he's been a commentary on that, and also a commentary on Western influence in Japan, also a commentary on Western excess in general. Which means that some of the crazy theories I have about this movie's social commentary are perfectly valid, but I'll save them for the spoiler section.
Of course, sometimes Godzilla is just a commentary for, wouldn't it be cool to see a giant monster punch something?
Yeah, he's sometimes that too.
Believe me, especially in the late 60s, early 70s, sometimes it's just about monsters punching monsters.
Kevin's just sitting there going, I assure you, Doug, sometimes.
Sometimes Godzilla is metaphorical of punching things.
But I did think that you could make a metaphoric interpretation from this movie, and I'll get into my particular
honestly,
metaphor.
I might agree with you. Maybe as much as maybe since the original Godzilla has there really been maybe a metaphor to it, but
yeah.
But I think the biggest issue is that this movie plays everything extremely seriously, extremely straight. There's not much hokiness or camp to go along in this film.
I'm thinking of taking my niece to go see it, but at the same time, she's about 3 years old. She handles movie theaters very, very well. I'm thinking about taking her to go see it. I hesitate a little because there are some scenes that can be pretty scary. There's some scenes where Godzilla is screaming at the scene, and I can see how that would be very frightening to a 3-year-old. But at the same time, she really likes scary things. So if I put it in the phrase of this is a scary movie.
Okay, maybe it's just me, but I I think a lot of people kind of feel about Godzilla like they feel about the Hulk. He's big and he wrecks things, but he's cool.
Oh, he is! Oh, man, when they finally get around to showing Godzilla, and that is the thing, the movie, there are teasers of Godzilla even within the movie. You were...
Well, my thing was more to complain about this more, that it plays it very straight, and it's not good enough to warrant how serious it is.
Aw.
Like, the human stuff is just not interesting. Like, Ford, the actor, does not... He's very much like a, audience participation camera piece. Like, his job is to kind of just move to plot point for us.
Well, they spend a large chunk of the movie him just trying to get home to his wife and kids.
Which
ironically
takes him along the exact same path the monster action
He just happens to consistently be going to the next spot where the monster's showing up.
Well, that's actually one of my problems, is the wife and kid. Well, especially the wife. Like, there was points, but they could have really shown her to be like this proactive. Like, she's a nurse.
Yeah.
They could have shown her like doing like actively like trying to save people, doing this, doing that. Instead, they usually have her crying, going, "Please come home."
Yeah. Like,
they could have shown her being like this. One of the movie's things does really well is that there are occasionally times where it'll go to random normal people in the midst of Godzilla and monster craziness.
Yes.
And how are they reacting? And usually they all react actually pretty well, pretty smartly. Like, but she doesn't.
Well, there's only so... Well, I'm kind of glossing over your comment of, well, she doesn't. More to just go, there's only so much you can really do when a giant lizard-like monster is suddenly screaming and stomping around your city. There's really only so much. As most people do take the most prudent action that you can do in that scenario. And there's really just not much.
That's fine. But if they're going to take the time to show me this other character...
That's true.
She needs to honestly be interesting and more than just a please save me button.
Maybe she'll be better as the Scarlet Witch. And her husband in this movie as Quicksilver. Let's not read into that.
And, like, the military, they do military things. And even honestly, the military is actually, as militaries go, is actually pretty reasonable.
Well, yeah, they got two things. It's pretty Navy heavy, which is great. I'm ex-Navy. I love the Navy. Mostly because the Navy has not gotten a lot of film presence recently. And they did have a little trouble trying to make them look good while being helpless to stop the monsters. But they tried.
I think they did a pretty good job. Like, they are helpless to stop the monster. That is one of the predominating things of Godzilla movies, that they're trying. You
can send them in the military, but it's not gonna work.
And then there was Dr. Serizawa. Like, he was... I know what they were trying for.
When we get into spoilers, there's something I gotta say about him.
There's a lot of things we gotta say in spoilers.
He felt like a character that if they had went for a more campy route, he would have worked really, really well for that.
Yeah, he's actually a case I kind of thought where, you complimented the movie on really knowing its Japanese roots. He's a case where I actually felt like I'm agreeing with what you're saying. If they had gone just a little bit campier, he would have fit in better as being the kind of campy reference to the roots, but aside from the beginning of the movie, he starts to get campier than the rest of the movie is.
Yeah, he needed an eye patch.
Yeah.
But he needed an eye patch to be Dr. Serizawa.
Yeah.
But I'm actually still wondering if he might turn out to be the one from the original Godzilla film's son or something.
That would be cool.
I think they established he had no kids, but that's beside the point. This is its own continuity.
But make no mistake, once you get to the actual Godzilla bits, I was completely down. I really felt he looked really good on the screen. I actually like the look of him a lot. I think he looks, he looks, he looks modernized in a way that's not stupid.
I actually have have to agree with one small point from the internet and from what the Japanese commentators have had to say about the way American Godzilla looks. He was kind of fat. He was a little fat.
I like to think of it as muscle. Now, admittedly, 300-something odd foot tall monster probably cannot mathematically exist. But somehow I thought the bulkier look, like he looked like he had muscle. He moved deliberately. Like
I thought
it looked
he just
like
looked
he
a
was
little fat.
I think it looked like a shape that looked like it existed better in the real world.
Now, admittedly, and when I've seen previews on it, like when I saw previews on TV and everything, they didn't really show a lot of like the angles where he looked kind of fat. But he in the movie, you did get to see things where he's just looking like he's maybe got a little bit of a double chin going on.
He does have kind of rounder feet than Godzilla usually has, and I've been told he has gills, but I never spotted them.
His neck was really broad.
Yeah, he supposedly has gills in there somewhere, but I never spotted them. And fans were mixed on that, apparently.
But I don't know. I like the way he moved. It was kind of like a bear.
Oh,
like very ponderous, and
Oh, what were you saying, Kevin, about Godzilla had very soulful eyes. Like, whenever they...
Yeah, there's a couple times they really focus in on his face, and his eyes are a little smaller than Godzilla's usually are, but he had very kind eyes. Like,
and you were saying something about the face capture?
Oh, yeah, because, Andy Serkis of Gollum fame, he is credited, along with some other Weta Workshop people, but he is credited as the motion capture director. And then there's two other names under there as motion capture actors. So you assume that's, who's doing the monster. But apparently, for all the face shots, the close-up face shots, they got Andy Serkis to come in and do motion capture Godzilla's facial expressions. So, Andy Serkis is King Kong and Godzilla. At least close enough for me.
But he was really expressive for a giant screaming monster. And I keep mentioning that he's a screaming monster because, he makes that Godzilla sound.
They got the right Godzilla sound. I don't think anyone can argue that point. He sounds like Godzilla.
And the movie really, I guess the theater didn't have it turned up so loud that it was hurting our ears or anything, but the movie did a very good job of conveying how that roar just radiated and vibrated the world around it.
I felt it did a really good job of making me go, whenever they would show Godzilla.
Yeah.
And partly is because they take a long time to ever really show you Godzilla. The movie kind of goes you want to see Godzilla? Yeah, I know you came to see Godzilla. He's like, oh, look, did you see? No.
You see a little bit, look, is that some fins? Is that some spines above the water?
It almost acts like it's going to pull a Cloverfield on you, where it's not going to really show you the monster, except for maybe one small scene late in the movie. And that's not entirely true, but the scenes are significantly longer, so you do really get to see Godzilla.
And a lot of times they'll actually show you bits of Godzilla on other people's TV sets and things, and watching other people. And I thought that was a really neat idea. Yeah. I really like the whole concept of... I actually kind of wish they would have used more of that within the film. Yeah. Of letting me see stuff going on, but maybe not from the actual perspective of seeing it. I think they could have done... If they had to do such a boring human plot... if they could have just, interspersed it more and again, I think the basis of a good plot was there.
Yeah.
They just didn't go far enough with it. I think they had, they had a good foundation, they just didn't build on it quite right.
And I hope I'm not putting words in her mouth, but my mom enjoyed the human plot when I saw it with you guys, and I later saw it with my mom.
I enjoyed the human plot,
and I think
too.
Because she is a woman who had a husband in the military, I think she really relates, and had a young son at the time. I think she really relates to that concept. I think she got way more invested in the human characters than you did, and she really enjoyed the human plot.
You talk about the human plot, and it sounds almost like you're talking exclusively about the guy and his wife, but part of the human plot, the thing that I thought was so interesting was the science plot that was going on at the same time. Because once again, the biology was not too far off. Like, it wasn't as good as maybe some other monster movies have been, but it was still
for the kind
good.
of city stomping scale monster movie, it was damn good biology.
For one thing, they are correct that the world that the dinosaurs lived in was actually a much more radioactive Earth than what we are currently living in.
I'm honestly thinking they were shooting more Permian era.
Yeah,
I think
they probably
is what they
were
implying.
Yeah, and it was really radioactive then, but not a lot of reptiles back then, more amphibians. But
Godzilla has gills. We don't know what his deal is anymore. Yeah.
But
he defies classification.
But all the same, like it really was more radioactive. The idea that anything is consuming radioactivity as their primary food source is still a little weird, but
we need it for the plot to work.
But we need it for giant monsters rampaging around, so I can dismiss it.
Radioactive spider bite, just roll with it.
But no, in the structure of Godzilla, I was kind of laughing, going, he was fat, but he did have these bigger, more round legs, and like you were mentioning about how he moved so deliberately, he
would
moved.
Need to.
He moved he really did move, like you would think a really giant creature would need to move.
He looked like he was inhabiting the space he was drawn in.
Yeah, he was...
He looked like he had weight.
He definitely looked thick enough to support himself.
Yeah, when he moved, he looked like he weighed as much as he looked.
Yeah.
There was effort in the muscles and the body, and it's the most Godzilla's ever looked like a real thing in a city, ever.
Yeah, and so I do think I was pretty satisfied with that. And I was also pretty satisfied and interested, in, kind of the plot that was going on with the scientists, where the scientists were like, we've made this discovery and we've been researching this for years, and now we're giving way to the military that's coming in, but we're telling them all this stuff that we've been looking into, and we're slowly dealing out because we don't know how much they're going to take away from us. And I thought that was all really interesting.
I guess I kind of liked the interactions with Navy guy and Dr. Sarazawa and
but
the
more on
French
that in spoilers.
Assistant. Yeah, or French English assistant, random English assistant lady.
Well, tell you what, again, I think we do say you should go see this movie.
Oh, you should definitely go see this movie.
Pause. Go see this movie.
I think especially... You know how much we loved Pacific Rim. Because I think we've talked about how much we love Pacific Rim at least once in every podcast since the Pacific Rim podcast.
Probably.
But if you, the listener, liked Pacific Rim, I definitely think that you should check out Godzilla. Basil kind of disagrees with me on my feeling that I feel like they're in the same vein, they just spec differently. No,
I feel they're attacking things completely differently.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim was in fact going for camp.
Yeah.
It was definitely going for more pulp. They were looking for a little more out there, high action. It was a bit more in your face.
Yeah.
Whereas Godzilla's trying to be a more ponderous, more honestly, slightly more philosophical film.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't think it hits the notes it really wants to. But I feel that overall, the effort is worth looking into. And I think now that they've got, their setups there, I'm really looking forward to what they do with the Zilla sequel.
At heart, they're really about giant things fighting.
And as someone who likes giant things fighting, I enjoyed both films.
I
immensely.
have never been disappointed with a mecha battle just randomly happening in the middle of something. So a movie where that's the whole point really pleases me, even if there are no mecha involved and they're just giant things fighting.
I don't know. One felt... I was so random to me in this way since it felt like an actual fighting game. Whereas Godzilla's trying to be like a survival horror game.
Yeah.
There are, I do feel that while they both feature giant monsters, they're two different. They're aiming for two different genres.
Okay, I can agree to that, but that's part of what I think I was meaning when they spec differently. So go see Godzilla and decide for yourself which one you like better, but I have a feeling that you'll like both.
If you enjoy Pacific Rim, I recommend checking out Godzilla immensely. I think they're very important. I think both films are very important to the future of
good
giant
movies.
things, beating things, movies. Like the
whether they're tearing down buildings or...
I think it's very important your young, well-behaved in theater children see both of these films.
Yeah, I don't know about 3-year-olds, maybe more like 6-year-olds.
Well,
Like I actually posted on Facebook, in fact, I don't know if I remember the exact phrase, but something to the effect of, even though it does have some moments that might be very frightening to small children, I think it's very important that children get to see this Godzilla movie.
I just wonder if I put it in context of, hey, I'm going to take you to see this scary movie. If I put it in context like that, if she'll like it and not be as scared by it because now she's expecting the scary.
Well, how often does she see? That's
a
whole thing.
I think all children should
Clearly,
be
her
exposed to
mother
Godzilla.
would have to give the
Yes.
okay signal first,
Right?
like before anything.
Because
went
as a
down.
small child, like Godzilla and Ultraman were my heroes, and maybe
Yeah.
Speed Racer. But
But on that note, we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with spoilers. Alright, folks, spoilers. Charlie just sent me another text from Momocon. The hot knife of my vengeance will cut through the butter of OSMcast, then spread upon the yeast roll of justice. Justice is delicious. I still love you all, though.
Does he have a thrush infection?
wow.
I mean, he's talking about yeast in his mouth. Does he have a thrush infection?
I guess you'll need to ask him at Hamacon.
I don't know.
Like,
but
did he acquire candidemia in his mouth?
if he had just gotten a Hulk Hogan and a Skronk in there, it would have totally been an Ultimate Warrior speech. And
So-
that's the highest praise I can give.
So there you go.
Well,
So what about this Godzilla movie?
Godzilla, spoiler alert, Godzilla isn't the only giant monster in the movie!
Spoiler alert, because the trailers totally try to avoid this concept. He's basically the good guy.
Kinda, sorta, as much as he can be.
Hey,
This is about the most benevolent Godzilla I've seen.
Yeah, like, there were several times as I was watching this movie in the theater, I sat there and I leaned over to you and I was like, it's a good thing Godzilla's on our side. And then I thought about it for a little while and I added on, sorta.
Well,
He's kinda on our side in that he really doesn't care if we live or die.
I think
Hence why he's destroying our city, you know. It's a good thing Godzilla's on our side, I say as he breaks off a skyscraper and uses it to beat the other thing.
he never did that.
No, but...
He should have.
he did do something, like, I think at one point Godzilla did do, like, a roundhouse kick, and it actually looked cool. It didn't look, like, hokey.
He tail lashed.
Yeah, he tail lashed and knocked, like, the giant monster that he was fighting into a building. You know.
But this is a pretty benign Godzilla. He, dived under a ship he could easily have plowed through.
Yeah, like, you do see Godzilla on several occasions making some small effort to avoid destroying human civilization.
He still just kind of blunders through buildings, but, I mean, he's not Well, heck, even the one time the Navy kind of freaks out and starts shooting at him, the worst thing happens, he pops out of the water and stumbles through the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, that's actually what I would think would be the scariest movie for a kid seeing it. The scariest scene that I would think a kid would have is actually the scene where it's showing you a bus filled with kids, and the bus is trying to take these kids away from the town to safety, and they've just gotten into like a traffic jam on the Golden Gate Bridge, and Godzilla shows up, and the Navy panics, starts shooting him.
There's even a guy who's like, hold your fire, and Godzilla like bumps right under a ship, and somebody freaks out, and they're all shooting. And Godzilla even comes up out of the water just the right time to block some missiles that were heading at the school buses.
Yeah.
So Godzilla totally saves those kids.
Yeah.
And the bus driver.
But there is a moment where Godzilla turns around and he just howls like right in the face of all the kids on that bus, and the kids start screaming. And I would think that would be the scariest scene in the movie to anybody watching it who wasn't totally enthralled in the awesomeness of it.
But Godzilla, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's weirdly enough the good guy here.
Thing is, there's other monsters.
Yeah.
There's actually two other monsters.
There's two other monsters, a male and a female.
And they're kind of insectoid.
Yeah, they're somewhere between insectoid and reptilian. That's a little weird.
They've got more than 4 limbs, and one has wings.
Well, again, this is actually where I want to compliment the biology. You know, the female is the bigger between the male and the male and the female, and the male has wings so that he can fly to where the female is. You know, they do this subsonic, you know, mating cry to each other. That's pretty cool. And one of the things I noticed is that for being tall, lanky monsters, the way they actually had their feet curved, so that the way that they landed and walked around, actually did make sense for weight support, for supporting that giant thing. Because one of the things, like when you have like a giant beetle, one of the reasons that beetles aren't as big as they aren't any bigger than they are is because a beetle would be crushed under the weight of its own exoskeleton.
And most insects don't have lungs.
Yeah. So the fact that they did, you know, think around and come up with a structure that would be more conducive for this thing to actually walk around, and yet it still looks pretty insect-like, I actually thought was really cool.
I also like, you know, how the male brings the nuclear bomb to the female, and they kind of nuzzle, and like they like basically make it their nest lining.
Yeah.
And that's like, that was adorable. Like, their one little nuzzle moment was way too adorable for hideous creatures. But,
well, okay, so the Japanese professor, who's been studying these things for so long, for years and years, and his life's research has been researching these things. You know, they keep talking to him, and they're trying to figure out if their plan of launching a nuclear missile at these things that eat nuclear energy is going to work or not. And you know, he keeps saying things like, you know, I think that there must be somebody that, I think that nature has a balance to it, and that there is a force that will bring balance back to nature, and I believe that he, referring to Godzilla, is that force.
I'm not saying Godzilla's going to walk into town and solve your monster problem for you, but I'm totally telling you Godzilla will solve your monster problem for you.
Well, the thing that got me is the more he kept saying that kind of thing, the more he kept talking about it, the more he kept going, let them fight. I really started to disbelieve that he thought that would actually be a solution to the problem, and the more I started to think that he himself, the character that was present in the movie as these world events were going on, just really wanted to see those two giant monsters just have at it. Like, I think he just wanted to see Godzilla fight something.
Oh yeah, and what about the couple minutes it was suddenly Tokyo Jungle?
Oh yeah, I had fun with that. I loved that.
But I actually liked because what in the beginning destroys the nuclear power plant was the male creature in, I guess, its larval form.
Yeah, it was not Godzilla.
Which you never get to see, to the best of my knowledge, as I recall. But it cocoons itself in the center of the reactor. And this place is actually not radioactive like it should be because it's eating the radiation.
Yeah, that's the conspiracy. That's what they're covering up. They're covering up the big, giant monster that has made a cocoon out of the nuclear power plant.
Now I think about it, you can probably see on Google Maps. But,
yeah, that is a...
damn brain.
Well, that's part of the conspiracy. It's not showing up on Google Maps.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. But there's this moment where they go into the quarantine zone, and there's no actual radiation, so you've got buildings with overgrown plants and like just random dogs running around.
Yeah.
And it was Tokyo, so that's apparently where Tokyo Jungle takes place.
Yeah, it was something like a Tokyo Jungle. That was pretty cool.
But unfortunately, the said monster uncocoons itself, and that's just the start of their problems.
Oh, and Godzilla's kind of like the honey badger.
Kinda.
He's kind of like the honey badger. Godzilla just don't care. Like, Godzilla will show up, fight some monsters, because this is basically the plot of the movie. The plot of the movie is basically this. So there are these two giant moth-like, reptile-like monsters that have somehow been uncovered because of the Chilean mine fiasco or something.
The Philippines.
Yeah, the Philippine mine fiasco.
Because it was apparently the nearest nuclear power plant was a straight line to Japan.
Yes. So these two things have been unleashed onto the world. And so there's two giant monsters. And they're singing a mating call, talking to each other. One is in like Nevada of the United States. The other is in Japan. And they're talking across the world to each other. And Godzilla gets wind of this. And he hears about their plan. And he doesn't like this. He's the giant motherfucking monster. And so he shows up, and he wrecks their shit. He just kicks the living daylights out of the two of them.
Two young kids trying to make their way in their world, have a family, and then Godzilla comes in and wrecks it.
He just wrecks their shit. He just doesn't care. He just takes what he wants, and what he wants is to beat the crap out of them. And then when he's done, he takes a nap, and he gets up and he shoves off, go back to the sea, like he just doesn't give any.
Spoilers, it ends like nearly every Godzilla movie, and Godzilla wades off into the ocean with one last howl and swims away till they need him for the sequel.
Like, it's incredible. Like, because they make several allusions that he's he's the natural predator of these other two monsters. And so there's some, idea that he's going to consume them. He doesn't. He just kills them. He just kills them. He doesn't eat them or anything.
Apparently, he's just extremely territorial, and the planet is his territory.
Well, this movie is trying to make it's trying to deal with a lot of dad stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
got a lot of dad
it really is. You start off with Ford's dad.
Yeah.
And losing the mom, and then them both dealing with losing the mom. It's the dad and the son. Yeah. And the dad's sure about this conspiracy, and the son is just like, whatever, Dad.
Oh, spoiler, the mom dies.
Pretty quickly.
And, and then he deals with, and then finally they realize there is a conspiracy, it's all true, his dad was totally right.
Yep.
Then suddenly, his dad dies.
Yep, spoiler, dad dies too.
Yeah, so Godzilla is not defeated by meth. Which is one way people love this.
They sort of expect, Ford to fill in for his dad's shoes, and he just can't.
Yeah, he's like, I never listened to any of his I thought it was crazy crap. I never listened to any of it.
Because he's not a scientist. He's a military grunt guy.
I remember something about echolocation. Does that help you guys? Yes. But that's about all the help he gave to the science.
Then you've got the Mutos, the enemy monsters, where it is again, Ford also himself is a dad, with his own kid. Mm-hmm. And then you also got the Mutos, where it's the father trying to get to the wife and kids.
Yep.
Or to have the kids so they can survive. But then you've got the biggest daddy of them all, which is Godzilla. And he did pretty much go, what? Fuckers. And then,
you goddamn kids, get off of my lawn! Godzilla's lawn, planet Earth.
And so, again, I felt with, the human sub-story, they had a whole lot to work with.
Yeah.
And they just didn't use it well enough for me, because, again, it was very serious.
Yeah, it was a very
storyline. And again, if they'd played it more, Serizawa more like, no, they should let him just fight. Like, just...
like he was a little out of place in his campiness, like. Which I don't know if it was intentional or not. Like, I honestly don't know if that character just wanted them to fight, or if that's just something I'm placing onto him. But it's definitely something that was coming off.
I think he wanted them to fight, and in a weird sort of way, he's almost the inversion of the Dr. Serizawa from the original film, in that in the original film, he's desperately trying to think of a way to get rid of Godzilla.
Yeah.
And he does come up with like a one-shot, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't plan, and it does work. But spoilers for like a 50-year-old movie. 60-year-old movie, I think, at this point.
Well, that does make sense, because again, then the big threat was the existence of nuclear stuff.
Yeah.
This film is dealing with the disposal or dealing with nuclear stuff.
This Dr. Serizawa is just kind of enthralled with Godzilla. Like, the majesty of the creature.
Because I don't think he realized that you can kill it, you just have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And again, the Mutos, they eat radioactive waste.
And you can't kill Godzilla.
Ford is a bomb disposal guy.
Like, I don't know if the nuke would have killed the Mutos, but it wouldn't have killed Godzilla. I've seen him tank a black hole.
Yeah.
You can't kill Godzilla.
Yeah, the entire, like, I really thought that was, like, if the military made any sort of mistake in that movie, it was, I really don't understand why they even thought that would work.
Now, in theory, in a real world, governed by real physical laws, with a modern nuclear warhead, nothing material should be able to exist the explosion in the initial sphere of reaction. That should just annihilate any matter we can conceive of. But... and maybe even that would have worked. But what I don't know is how they thought these creatures, which feed off radioactivity, and they even were planning to use the radioactivity to lure them, how they didn't think it would just find your bomb and go, oh, that's a nice bomb you have there, and fly off with it, which is exactly what it did.
That's exactly what happened.
Where then they had an armed nuclear bomb with a timer that they had no way to shut off.
Yeah, they retrofitted the nuclear bomb.
Because, you haven't seen the movie for some reason, because you didn't go see it when we told you. The Mutos, the other monsters, they emit electromagnetic pulses. Mm-hmm. And they just create a field that screws up electronic devices. So you can't do a regular electronic detonator, which probably doesn't really work that way, because radiation would screw up things too. I bet they're really heavily shielded. But anyways, they have to make a clockwork detonator that they have to... someone sets up a timer on it right before the monster shows up and steals it. And so there is a get the bomb and disarm it plot going on near the end of the film. As Godzilla shows up and fights the monster.
Which he ends up not doing. Like, for a guy whose big thing is I can dispose of bombs, they never let him actually dispose of a bomb ever.
Yeah.
Well, he kind of does.
Not the way...
puts it on a boat and sends it out to the water before it goes off.
But even then, he doesn't actually get to actually do that. He gets on the boat and then collapses. He doesn't even get the boat really started.
Hey, he totally programmed that GPS.
That's totally the way boat autopilots work.
Yeah. Oh, well, even the nuclear bomb thing, I had some serious physics problem. Well, not physics problems, but just like nuclear bombs are delicate.
Yeah.
And it's not the kind of delicate like, oh, you handle it wrong, it explodes. It's the kind of delicate that if it gets a little banged up, it's not going to detonate.
It's not going to detonate, and it's going to leak radiation.
I mean, the detonator on a nuclear bomb is a very delicate setup.
Yeah.
And if it's not set up just right to implode just right to set off the explosion, like if it just skews a little wrong on one way, it just won't go off.
Yeah.
I guess the problem is that overall, except for like one of the scenes where they let Ford actually be a hero, which was in the train, so we get to save the kid.
Yeah, he totally kills all the baby monsters.
That is true. Okay, you're right.
Right about the time I'm thinking, dude, you got to do something about those eggs. He turns around and decides to do something about those eggs.
Yeah.
But a lot of the time, they people that should be heroic sometimes
kind of bystanders.
We're kind of bystanders, and then the bystanders got to be heroic, which was cool. I just would have, I understand that the Navy had to be, incompetent.
Yeah. Well,
they weren't
really
even all that incompetent, except for the whole bridge thing, and I totally blame the Navy for that. That's why the Golden Bridge got wrecked. It's not Godzilla's fault. He was just, dude, stop shooting at me. Oh, fuck, that was a bridge.
I like, the plucky, bus driver.
Yeah.
It did suck for the movie that the bus driver had way more charisma to him than Ford ever did.
You just did not like Ford.
And, even the Navy guy didn't have that much charisma to him.
Yeah, that's just because they're Navy.
What?
And, I like the daughter, telling her dad, hey, we got to do something, and he listens to her and carries her away. And, there's, plenty of normal people got to do cool things in this. But, Ford's like, yeah, I can, shut this thing off and this blah, 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 and this and that, and he never does it. The wife could have had awesome moments. She really doesn't.
Honestly, from a real way bombs work standpoint, the best thing they might have done is do the whole fire thing and left that bomb in there. It would have wrecked the bomb and killed all the eggs. And now you would have radiation in the city. You'd have to clean that up later.
Yeah.
But it would have probably been more sure than trying to get it to a boat and out in the ocean and hope it didn't blow up, under the bridge.
So is it time for my theory?
Go for it.
Okay, so this is my theory on what the real commentary, about the metaphysical commentary that Godzilla was making was. It's very important that you realize that this is the American Godzilla. That's why he was fat. He was fat because Americans are overweight, and Godzilla wasn't just America. Godzilla was the heart of America. Godzilla was the heart of America. Godzilla was, Godzilla's old at this point. He's what? He's been around since the 40s, so he's he's 60, 70 years old. He's gotten a little older. He's gotten his metabolism slowed down. He's put on a little weight, but he can still give the what for, and he is still willing to fight to protect America. And then you have the Mutos, these two monsters, and I think they represent the far east coast and the far west coast. Because notice, that's also where they were. One was hidden in Nevada on the east coast, which would be the east coast of the Pacific. Okay, ignore that. Ignore the location thing.
I thought you had something about the two perfect appearing.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Mutos were these really long, slender creatures. They had, they were big and powerful. One even had wings. But they're these long, slender creatures. On these stilted looking legs, clearly representing the unattainable ideal of attraction that, Hollywood and New York are both trying to indoctrinate into Americans' minds that's just not working out. And they're basically everything that is phony and fake about America, everything that's all the glitz and glamour, again, why one's in Nevada and one's all the way, in Japan, where a lot of Americans are idealizing at the moment. So, and they show up, and they're trying to be these beautiful, elegant things, but they're really just parasites. They're really just parasites that are toxic to the environment and the world around them, and we've just got to have the heartland, Godzilla, to come wreck them. And just beat the crap out of them so that we can get back to what we really are. Godzilla.
I don't know if that's the metaphor of the movie, but that's beautiful.
What you didn't see was the hand over heart, looking to a flag that's not there.
No, it makes total sense. This is the American Godzilla. That's why he's put on a few pounds.
Although, since we are in the spoilers, there is the most super duper mega super special ultra cosmic awesome spoiler that can only be said in the spoiler section.
What's that, Kevin?
Godzilla has atomic fire breath.
Oh, yes! Oh, man, that was so cool. The warm-up to it was just right. It was just right.
Yeah.
I have heard some people, Paul Chapman, say that it was not crazy big enough. But again, I think this is going for this more quote-unquote realistic.
As realistic as anything with atomic fire breath can ever be.
Well, I also like to... I'm kind of hoping that this is something that means they can ramp up movie after movie.
He just atomic fire breath, like, right into the face of the female Muda.
Now, classic Godzilla... I swear the atomic fire breath was probably a fire extinguisher. It was just like more of a cloud.
Yeah.
That then you tried to fakey the little models melting, and it was cool. It was black and white. It actually works way better than it should in black and white. And it has evolved over time. Admittedly, in the more later Godzilla films from Japan, it really starts resembling more of like a beam cannon that just shoots out of Godzilla's mouth, like, Macross gun time. And shit dies, you know. And especially, it actually sometimes varies in intensity, but I think they're really good. I love how you see a little bit of a blue glow, and you don't really know where it's coming from at first, and then you see that it's Godzilla's tail, and you see the little spines lighting up the tail as it goes up towards the head, and then if you're sitting next to Kevin in the theater, you hear, "Oh hell yes!"
Yeah, like it was like the "Oh hell yes" came about like when it was about halfway, like it had just gotten over his back haunches, like it wasn't quite halfway up his back yet, but it was just kind of up his haunches when you're like, "Oh hell yes," and that's when I knew what it was.
And then just beam of blue fire, and the monster's like, blue fire, and it's
so it's really it's this really perfect scene where it gives you just enough time to go, what's that? And then you realize what that is, and then you get excited, going, oh yes, that thing, and then that thing happens, and you are very satisfied.
And it definitely was the big save up for the big it's kind of the big finishing move.
And then he actually does get to use it as the big finishing move.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
in the very end.
It's not like it doesn't break out the fire breath right away. It wants to kind of big for near the end of the film. But.
Like, I'm not really sure that Godzilla was on our side. I think Godzilla just wanted to beat up some other monsters. Like, I think he was just behaving like a territorial animal.
The original director of Godzilla...
And he really just didn't care about it.
The original director of the original Godzilla... really felt, in several of the early Godzilla films, really felt Godzilla was a force of nature. He was not particularly against humanity or for us. He just came through.
Yeah. And that gets represented in some of the older Godzilla movie plot lines where, as we were talking earlier, the storyline A has nothing to do with Godzilla, and then Godzilla happens.
Yeah. And as I do not generally like to reference, well, who am I kidding? I do sometimes, but I don't really like to reference TV tropes. But I do have an entry called The Godzilla Threshold. And that is the point
I don't think I've ever looked up that one.
That's
What is
the
that one?
point in your story where any resolution, no matter how extreme, such as Godzilla comes out of the ocean into your city, is looked on as a welcome thing. Like, Godzilla is a giant city-destroying monster, sure, if he just walks into your city, he'll wreck your city. But if he walks into your city and there's another monster there, he's gonna wreck that monster.
Yeah. I mean, your city was already destroyed.
Just accept your city is fucked, you can rebuild.
Well, this movie does do a good job of showing the wake of all these monsters fighting. Like it does do a really good job of showing stuff. It also did a really good job of the way it shot everything was kind of like looking up at the monsters. Mm-hmm. So you were at the feeling that you were looking up at the monsters when they were fighting. Like it did a really good job of scale.
Yes.
That I could really believe these are gigantic monsters duking it out in a city.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alright, so take a break, then come back with Awesomes Out of Awesomes?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's time.
Awesome out of awesomes.
Alright, be right back. This is the OSMcast. And we're back.
Welcome
So, Godzilla Master. Do you want to finish this, or do you want to start it?
I will finish this.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and get us started. I'm gonna give this 3 radioactive monsters of awesome.
I will give it a... I really wanted it to be better. I mean, it was pretty good. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, I think I'm coming off more negative than I'm actually feeling for this review. Talk, conversation, what have you. But the Godzilla part's really good. And the human parts had a lot of really good that could happen in them. I really want to see a sequel.
Okay.
I really want to see a sequel out of awesome.
I will give it 1 terrarium labeled Mothra that I hope is a hint to the sequel out of awesome.
And with that...
And I will finish this with a comment from a one Sauerkraut or Eldridge Engines. He's one of the chainsaw guys. Dylan mentioned, you should ask him about how soulless it is or something, and then the guy did respond. I'm just saying it was a fancy, empty shell of a movie, technically brilliant, but a chore to sit through. I don't think it was soulless.
I don't think it was a chore to sit through. I sat through it twice.
I think it was. I think he found where I found it a little bit boring at times. I think he found it really boring at times.
You see, I never found it boring at all.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the human plot okay. Like, it's not the best human plot I've ever seen, but I liked it.
But my more point is, I felt this Godzilla movie did have a soul. It was there. It was good. Could have been better, but just because I was hoping for something. Oh my god, amazing! And I only got pretty good, possibly even really good, depending on who you are.
Well, I think one thing that this movie really did succeed in, is if you think, like, the Godzilla movies really are kind of the classics of their genre. They've almost arguably made their own genre.
Technically, well, Godzilla is technically Japan trying to do their own version of the Beast from 20,000 Phantoms, which actually predates... Fathoms, rather. Which actually predates Godzilla, but not by much. But Godzilla really defined the genre.
Yeah. So, those movies really are great, but if you're like most American audiences and you're never really gonna see a Godzilla movie, I think this is a good one. Like, I think this fills in a gap, whereas a lot of people may not know a lot about Godzilla. This is actually explaining a lot about Godzilla. Yeah. This is actually going to, I think, be more successful in making Godzilla familiar to people, and it covers a lot of the bases that it needs to cover.
And I'm happy counting this amongst the grand pantheon of Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. I'm not saying once I get the video, I might not just skip to where the monsters come in, at least once or twice. But I'm also going to watch the full movie all the way through.
Yeah, I definitely want to own this.
And I kind of do too, so I think that,
I'm secretly hoping for a director's cut with more monster footage, but who knows?
But with that, go see it. Buy it whenever it comes out. We're the OSMcast. Thanks for listening, and we're out.